Willie D Live.
What's up, family? You be the judge. We got a woman who claims she bought 2 tickets totaling $2,000 on the 7th row at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. The woman says she left her seat. When she came back, the attendant would not allow her to sit in her seat. Why? Because the seats were occupied by someone else. That's the excuse. That's all it was. And the guy said it was only 6 minutes left in the concert. Well, according to the woman, the concert ended at 11 o'clock. She got there at 9, so she had obviously watched some of the concert from a distance. But when she wanted to go and take her seat, she was denied. Who's right, who's wrong? Give me a thumbs up if you think the woman is right. Thumbs down if you say, no, man, no, she should have been sitting in her seat, man. You move your meat, you lose your seat. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Okay, time's up. Whoo, boy, fam, this is a tough one. So tough that I had to go to the Hollywood Bowl website. You got to verify, Sound like she had a credible case, right? But I had to do my research. Come to find out that Hollywood Bowl does have rules on seating. Those rules are as follows. For the safety of all our patrons and to comply with fire regulations, the aisles and walkways of the Hollywood Bowl must remain clear at all times. As a courtesy to the performers and audience, latecomers won't be seated until the earliest appropriate opportunity in the concert, which is at the discretion of management. Please note that certain events are performed without intermission. Certain events are performed without intermission. Therefore, no late seating can be offered at those concerts. Only occupy a seat or remain in an area for which you possess a valid ticket. You must provide your ticket upon request. Avoid blocking the view of others. During some concerts, and occasionally at the artist's suggestion, guests will be permitted to stand immediately in front of their own seats during some parts of the performance. On those occasions, standing may continue, but please be respectful of others and try to avoid blocking their view. Then he goes on to talk about minimum age requirements and stuff like that. So, based on their own policy, Hollywood Bowl is out of pocket. Yeah. Not only do they owe that woman an apology, they got to make good on that, man. They got to pay up, man. Yeah, man. I done had to go to the doctor. I had to talk to a therapist. I done missed work. I can't communicate right. I'm talking slow. Yeah, I done started drinking. And it didn't even happen to me. I'm going through all of this just hearing the story. This is crazy, fam. When you buy a seat, the seat is yours. I get it when they talk about those occasions where some performances don't have intermission. Once it starts, you got to be in your seat. There are strict rules for that. But in situations where you buy a seat, the seat is yours, and if you want to show up with 1 minute left on the clock, you can do that because that's your seat. Dude was out of pocket, and I think that he stood on what he was standing for strictly because he could. He knew he was out of pocket, but more importantly, he knew that his bosses were going to back him up. See, that's where these type of people come from. They come from the people who hire them. Yeah, they only hire those types. It takes those types to hire those types, because I can guarantee you if Willie D was his boss, he wouldn't have done that, because he would have known not to do that. First of all, his ass wouldn't even been hired, under my watch. You got to treat people fair, man. You got to pack fair. And that goes for everybody, man. Even black people that's doing the same. You can't be handling people like that just because they're of a different ethnicity or whatever. If they get out of pocket, then you give them what they get what they get. But the woman came in initially. She was very respectful. Like, hey, I'm coming to sit down. Well, it's my ticket. She's trying to explain, but they're not listening. They won't hear nothing. They just shutting her down. And there's another guy that's off camera is talking. I couldn't see him, but he's like instigating. Yeah, you just come up here not even showing a band or anything and all this type of stuff. So they was escalating instead of de-escalating a problem that was not even a problem. They made it a problem. Now here's the thing. There was something said about the standing in front of people and all that stuff. That is one of the most disrespectful things that you can do at a concert. And some of y'all listening to me, that's what y'all do. Y'all stand up in front of people and stand up the whole damn time. Like, give it a break. Ain't nobody jamming that hard where you got to stand up for an entire 2 hours. Sit down, let people, rotate, man. Give it a break. Then you gonna stand up, sit down. Stand up, sit down. But this is why you got to be careful about sitting on flats, getting your tickets on flat surfaces like the floor. The floor gonna be flat. So if you're on the 7th row like that woman was and somebody is standing in front of you, especially if they're taller than you, you're probably gonna have a horrible experience. And what if they wear one of them big old goofy ass hats with a feather? Oh man, I can't stand those types. But I don't even sit like that. I don't. If I'm gonna be in the audience, I gotta be in one of those audiences where there's a slope. I don't sit. If I sit in the audience, if I sit on the floor, it's gonna be on the front row. Maybe the 2nd row, or I'm on the end, something like that. If you're on the end, you're good because you can just step around or whatever. You can still see the show. But if you like in the middle or any of that type of stuff, and you got people in front of you and they're totally inconsiderate, man, they just stand it all up. And oh man, then you got them type that'll stand up in the chair. So, and they got a rule against that too. You can't stand in this chair. But yes, some people just don't have good concert etiquette. And they just don't give a damn. They are totally disrespectful. And those type, every now and then, you're gonna have to. But the way they think, everybody spent their money. And so when people spend their money to go watch a concert, they have in their mind the experience they want to have. And that's what they go there to create. Then you got those people who will stand up in a chair. Oh man, they are the worst. I can get it if it's a kid, a small kid. I get it, and that's a little iffy. But a grown person, I be hoping that damn chair be like collapse on that. Yeah, man. Is that cynical? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, fam. So in this situation, I think the woman was absolutely right. I would have been mad as hell, boy. I would have crunk it up. Oh yeah, I would have crunk it up. Something like that. First of all, dude broke the rules. And if they're gonna try to make that the rules, then they need to make that clear. But apparently that was not the rules because the woman said, this is for all y'all who voted against her. She said that they actually contacted her and apologized. She said that they, I don't know exactly what they did for her, but she's in contact with them. And they're working through the situation. They have admitted that they were wrong. They didn't apologize. They admitted they were wrong. There's a difference. You can say, "Hey, I was wrong," without actually expressing an apology to someone. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.